Please welcome UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador Muzoon Al-Mellehan and Kathy Calvin, President and Chief Executive Officer of the United Nations Foundation.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here, changemakers, all of you. We are so happy to have you back at this Social Good Summit. Thanks to Richard, Pete, Henry. We love making the week start this way, and we love making it happen with you. So welcome to Global Goals Week. I think one of the really exciting things that happens on a week like this is that we come together at a time of challenge, and we decide how to make it a time of opportunity. And 20 years ago, tomorrow, another change maker took a challenge and turned it into an opportunity. That was Ted Turner, the founder of CNN, the mouth of the South, a big visionary who put his money where his mouth was and announced a pledge to give $1 billion to the United Nations. Nobody had done anything like that at that time. It was big, audacious, hairy, and powerful, because it started a movement of mega-giving, and it also said the UN was important and cool. And Ted did it because he believed that the UN was the place where everyone could come together and change our world. And that was a time when, frankly, a lot of people were saying, let's walk away from the UN, let's walk away from the world. And Ted said, that doesn't work. What we need to do is take hands with the UN and try to change our world. And that's really what the Social Good Summit does. That's really what the Global Goals Week is about, and why we've all come together to help make sure that the Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals, have a chance. They were created by input from 7 million people. They were adopted by 193 countries. They are intended to leave no one behind. And they're going to take work by all of us, but all of us are goalkeepers. And so we're going to recommit to do everything we can. And I'm really excited because I see the future in someone like Muzoon. She's a Syrian refugee and the youngest ever, first Syrian refugee and youngest ever Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF. This is what the world is going to be like.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and my name is Muzoon. I'm so proud to be again here, actually, to go back to Social Good Summit. Last year, I had the pleasure to speak here, so thank you so much also for this opportunity again to speak here. As you know, I'm a Syrian refugee, and when the war began in my country, in Syria, I had to flee my home because our life actually changed upside down, and we had no choice to, to stay in Syria and to continue our normal life as it was before. Before the war, actually, we had a normal life. We were going to school, play with our friends. My dad was working, and we were actually visiting our relatives, just enjoying our life, and we didn't worry about anything. But when the war came over, actually, everything changed, and we had to flee. At that moment, I was so sad, and I felt that it is the end of my story, and I said, I don't want actually to flee my home and to leave everything behind, especially to leave my school, because I thought that I cannot continue my studies at a place like a refugee camp. But as I said, that was the decision actually to flee, to start a new life at a place where there was no war and there was no conflict as well. So my dad decided to go to Jordan to live in refugee camps. So as I said, I was sad, but we said, yeah, we want to go and to live in Jordan. When I was on my way to Jordan, actually I was thinking about my future, and I was thinking if we'll be actually school in refugee camps. So upon arrival to refugee camps, I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about the challenges in refugee camps, like there was no electricity. There was actually people who you don't know. You have to meet new friends. You have to start actually from zero. And at that moment, I didn't care. I said, I want to school, and just I asked my father if he can ask people if there is a school in refugee camps. And when he came and said, there is a school, at that moment, you know, I felt so pleased, and even I cannot express how happy I was, because I realized by education, I can change this difficult situation. I can make something for myself and also for my country, because my country needs strong people, needs people who believe in education, and people who will go one day and rebuild the country again. So I was so pleased at that moment. But unfortunately, I saw many people who don't believe in education and those who don't consider education as a priority. So I felt so sad, and also I was shocked to see people who think the early marriage maybe is the best way to protect girls and to protect communities. So I didn't want to see something like that in my community and in between my people. So I told myself to start my own mission to encourage them to go back to school. And I started there to raise my voice and also to help people to understand the importance of education, and also to let them go back to school again to make them themselves actually a very strong people. So I had the challenges, of course, when I started my campaign. But I didn't care about those challenges because I was believing that education is the way. And I knew that I'm doing a very important thing. I was actually at the age 14. So that brought attention to many people, many organizations who were working there to help refugees. One of those organizations, which is a very important part of me, UNICEF. And I'm so proud that I did with them many activities, also to talk with people. I was going from tent to tent, from place to another, to encourage people to go to school, because I know education is the thing which helps us to be strong people and helps us to help our countries and makes us who we want in our lives. And that was my journey, actually, refugee camps. I did that over 3 years because I lived in 2 refugee camps in Jordan. And in both camps, I did activities, and I was using my voice. I did as much as I can to help people of my country. Then I had the chance to go to live in UK, and I was so pleased to start a new life in a place like UK. And I was thinking about my education. But the important thing about my journey to UK, that of course I went to UK with my family. I didn't forget the people who are still behind me and the people who are still living in refugee camps and those who are still suffering. So I had a mission. It is not only in refugee camps, but also everywhere. For me, it is important for me to go to school, and I feel so lucky now I can go to school and I can have access to education. But there is millions who cannot go to school, and they cannot have access to this, a very important right. Not only education, we can see children, for example, who cannot eat, who cannot live in safety. So I will never ever forget them, and I cannot actually just think about myself personally. And now from the UK, actually I use my voice as well, and I use any chance that I had to talk about refugees and to raise the voice of children as well. So from the UK also I did activities, and then I'm so proud to be the youngest Goodwill ambassador for UNICEF. And now I'm doing my activities globally. It is not only for Syrians, but also my activities, it is for every child all over the world. And my message to you today is that even if we are young, even if we had the challenges in our life, we really can make a change. We have to face challenges. Yes, life is difficult. Yes, we now face lots of difficulties like war, conflict, poverty. But I would love to say, when we believe in ourselves and when we believe that we are strong enough to make a change, we will make this a change, and we can actually make a difference in this world, no matter who we are, no matter where we are, and also no matter how old we are. How old we are, this is really important for you to know that even if we're young, we can make a change. Unfortunately, that in general, we think sometimes the children, they are the weakest part of communities and who are maybe will be affected of war and conflict. Yes, that's true. They are really affected by war, and unfortunately now we see children who are really suffering, but even if they are suffering, they can make a change and they can make a difference in their communities. And also, events like Social Good Summit, United Nations, they work a lot and they are really making a difference in this world, and they are working tirelessly to help, to achieve the global goals, which is something really important. And one of the global goals is education. So I'm so proud to stand for this right for every child. So I would love my message to you that all of us can make a change. Not only the United Nations will make this change alone, not only Muzoon will make this change alone, and not only a country will make this change alone. So let's have a solidarity together, let's work together and stand together, and just to remember that we are all us humans, and at the end we have the same feelings and we have the same rights. So let's be one and let's come together for making our world much better and for making global peace. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, you got the challenge. Muzoon is a change maker. She's a goalkeeper. So can you be. So use your voices, speak out in your communities, get engaged, hold your leaders accountable, and share your stories at #Goalkeepers17. We need you. And now, before we leave, we're going to introduce our next speaker. He's a goalkeeper. Actually, he's a multi-goalkeeper. He's a hero of the environment and social and sustainable development. He's a veteran of the Social Good Summit. He's been here many times before, but now he's here as the new administrator of the UN Development Program. Welcome, Achim Steiner.